Everybody says to go to Linux to get the maximum FPS in games and to use the least amount of resources, but what if maybe Windows has a way to use less resources and get us more FPS?
And that is by using modified Windows installs. Yes, there is a wild west of modified versions of Windows 11 that you can download today to get more FPS, but does it actually give you more FPS, or will it just give you malware? We're about to find out after a word from today's sponsor.
If you've been thinking about upgrading your setup, starting a new build, or just trying to get more value out of your tech budget, you'll definitely want to check out today's video sponsor, Micro Center. Micro Center's winter savings event is continuing through January, and there are some great deals happening right now. You can find solid discounts on CPUs, GPUs, storage, monitors, and other essential PC components. This is perfect if you've been waiting for a good opportunity to upgrade without overspending. And if you're still hunting for even more deals, Micro Center's top deals page is always worth a look. New discounts are added regularly across PC hardware, gaming accessories, and creator gear, making it a great place to catch unexpected savings. One of my favorite finds is this HP Omen Slim laptop with RTX 5070, Intel Ultra 255H, and 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM for $1,200. And for anyone who likes to stay informed on the latest in tech, be sure to check out Micro Center News. They cover everything from full CES recaps to product launches, guides, and in-depth breakdowns. And if you're in Texas, here's some big news. Austin is getting a Micro Center. A brand new store is opening soon, and to celebrate, Micro Center is offering a free 128 gig flash drive when the store officially opens. Just make sure you sign up ahead of time so you don't miss out. If you want to learn more about Micro Center and everything they offer, check out links in the description down below. Now, let's get back to the video.
So it's really funny how we figured out about these kind of modified Windows installs that are like legit Windows installs, just very modified. We basically had a PCBros customer have us build him a PC, and he said, hey, forget the OS, don't install one. I have my own OS, and we're like, oh, okay. And he told us the name. It's called Sapphire OS, and we looked it up, and it had a really small following, not a ton of people talking about it. But his whole thing was, yeah, it's gonna make my PC run better. Matt and I were like, will it really though?
In the modern era where Windows 11, the standard Windows 11, is adding a bunch of different files and a bunch of different programs to where when you just install a fresh copy of Windows, you're sitting on desktop using a ton of system resources, we thought, well, nowadays you can't upgrade your hardware. Maybe you can upgrade your OS without having to switch to Linux and get all the downsides of Linux. So in today's video, we're gonna be testing two versions of a modified Windows install. It is modified Windows 11. We're using Sapphire OS and Windows XLite, and we are gonna be comparing it to Windows 11 25H2 in a fresh install with the right GPU drivers installed on our open air test bench, which we'll talk about in just a second. And we're gonna run a series of games to see, can we notice a performance uplift from going from standard Windows 11 to these new modified distros? Distros, not really distros, are they? This isn't Linux, but it kind of feels like it's a distro, but it's a modified Windows install. And from there, we'll be able to determine if these are actually worth it.
Now, just a heads up, we are only testing two separate from Windows, and one of the reasons is because these actually have legit followings. They actually have people that really vouch for them and like them, and they are full Windows installs. We didn't want to get one of those like programs that just goes through and cleans stuff, because technically Matt and I could just do some of that ourselves. You got to watch out, because there are some really sketchy Windows installs out there that claim to make your PC faster, but they really just infect your PC with all kinds of stuff.
And shout out to the creator FrameSync Labs. If you want to see a video where they tested a ton more of these modified Windows installs in a very technical way with a higher end system, it shows the results are pretty good in terms of the FPS you improve by going with these modified installs. Definitely watch that video because it's a good resource to further expand on this. What we're going to do in Toasty Bros fashion, a live reaction. We're going to benchmark the games initially to set our baseline on the Windows 11 25H2 that has the right AMD driver, specifically driver 2512.1, on our open air test bench that features a Ryzen 5 9600X, 32 gigs of DDR5 memory, and an RX 9060 XT 16 gig. And to save some time, we already ran those benchmarks, so we'll talk about those numbers when we're comparing them to the other installs of Windows so you guys can see the baseline and what we're actually getting. Now what we're gonna do is show you guys how to actually install the first OS, Sapphire OS.
All right, so Matt has already plugged in the USB for Sapphire OS. So you just pick a USB port on your PC, and we're in the BIOS right now, which you can get to by pressing restart on your PC, spamming the delete key typically. So what I love about the nicer boards is we can actually go to exit, and I can just do a boot override. So we're gonna pick UEFI USB disk 3, and I know Matt used a Ventoy installer for these, so that's why this looks a little weird.
And for some reason, Windows XLite isn't popping up currently on Ventoy. The whole point of me using Ventoy is have both ISOs on the same USB, but it's not there. So we'll deal with that when we get to that point. But we're getting Sapphire OS installed, and this would be a good time to tell you what it's all about. We are using the ultralight version, which is on 25H2. You join a Discord server to download this ISO. You join a Discord server, you talk to the community. I downloaded the ISO, and it seems like there's a ton of support guides on this Discord server, and the Discord server is incredibly active. So there's a lot of people interacting, they're giving information, but as you guys can see, the install looks lightweight.
It looks like a very old, like this almost looks like like Vista or like XP. All right, let's do Windows setup. Say the fact that it's, you know, we'll be able to we should be able to like legitimately activate this and it'll look like Windows to Microsoft. That's good for us. Okay, this probably looks normal.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go ahead and
just go and get rid of it. So we
right.
already did our benchmarks in normal Windows 11, so we're gonna clear out our 1 terabyte drive.
This is a great tip, by the way, Chad, is if you ever want to get rid of stuff on drives, something about these installers works better than like any other formatting tool.
And then we hit next. It's that simple.
This looks like normal Windows 11 install right now, by the way.
Yes.
Nothing super weird about it, so I'm trusting it. It's just this part that's kind of goofy. It's almost like an overlay that you like can't get rid of apparently.
And it's important to mention as well, I know Jackson briefly mentioned, there's so many other versions as well that give you what's called an injectable. To basically, you take a Windows 11 normal ISO, you put it on this program. It's almost like a keygen type thing for back in the day where you basically download it, you inject it into the normal Windows ISO, and then it makes it like this. But in this video, we're focusing on the ones where you just download an ISO and it's already ready to go. So there's a whole other area we could go down if we want to, but for now, we're just focused on this one and seeing if it goes past 0% on copying Windows files.
Yeah, I'm like, normally this would already be moving.
It's supposed to be more optimized and lightweight. What's going on here?
The install is not lightweight.
The install is not lightweight. Oh, there we go.
Oh, wow, it just skipped to 100%. Okay, well, we're gonna let this go and then we'll come back to whatever we're booting into.
Windows cannot install required files. Make sure all files required for installation are available. Restart installation error. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna go ahead and make a bootable USB real quick without Ventoy because I think Ventoy might be causing some issues here.
Might be the problem.
I'm gonna make a new one with using Rufus real quick and we'll come back. Hi, so I went and did the Rufus install, by the way. I don't know if my install was just borked or what, but couldn't you turn on the camera fast enough to show you guys that it just installed and now it's rebooting, I'm assuming. It literally took like 5 seconds to install.
So do we think it was just the USB the whole time?
It could have been the USB. We had some issues off camera beyond just what we were talking about before.
Oh, we're going straight into an administrator account. Oh, we're already in Windows. So it passed every,
and
God.
it's doing some stuff.
CMDing.
It's doing some stuff. Okay.
So it's kind of like, is the injection built in?
Okay, and I guess we're gonna do one more restart or not. Okay, that's cool. So on the desktop, I know the first thing I saw here, let me get this focused.
It already looks light because I don't see the AI.
I see no AI, I see nothing.
No
Let's just look Task Manager, first thing. RAM usage.
Very low. Oh, 1.9.
1.9, okay. So that's low.
That's really low.
It's really low compared to normal, just out of the box. Our CPU is showing up. We need to do GPU drivers and everything,
1%.
but is at 1%, 0, just kind of chilling here. There is this post-install option, which there is a guide that'll show you guys how to disable a bunch of different settings. There are so many things you can do here, but for our sake, we're just getting it installed to where if you use this OS, you can tweak it a little bit more because you can open up this tool that it comes with and it shows you all the tweaks you can disable. So for example, struggling to actually...
it's not restarting.
Oh, now it's gonna restart. Okay, hold up.
Our old CRT monitor.
Boot times are fast. Okay, so we're Windows time testing. We're testing things, apparently.
The time is not correct.
The time is not correct. You want to adjust that real quick?
Yeah, might not let us into games. This is wrong. Local admin account. So this is looking very normal. Like
they clearly turned off all the animation stuff.
Nothing there.
There's nothing.
Because like if I remove this, I've never seen that.
They
gone.
hid it. That is crazy. I will say they clearly turned off all the animation effects because literally everything is just instant, super snappy. So there's no like load up of anything. This is the tool I was trying to show for everything shut down, where you can go into here and you can do, let's do the main tweaks first. So disable Wi-Fi, if you want to do that, I don't know why. These are certain CPU specific features. This one is good for Intel CPUs if you want to enable that. Disable NTFS encryption, disable all these, there's so many things that you can get rid of. Enable VR services. I guess it's disabled by default, so if you need VR services, turn it on. Really the whole selling point here is it's just getting rid of a bunch of stuff, however small it is, it's just getting rid of it, and then if you want to add it back, you add it back. At least the stuff that you would think. Disable wallpaper quality reduction, like there's so many little effects. The transparent effects are currently off, so I guess you could turn them back on if you wanted to. But I think the mode we're on doesn't even have any transparency effects, so we'll just turn that off. Downloads, I guess this will show your downloads folder. Gaming tweaks, so if you have an AMD GPU, you can disable some other settings. You can download the driver from here if you want to. I probably wouldn't do that, but you could mess with shader cache, which I know helps at times. And then there's so many other These are things we've never even heard of. So as like an average gamer, if you're installing this, there's a bunch of things you may have not heard of, and that's what the community is for. You would get this downloaded, you would then just test it and see what kind of performance you get, which is how we're gonna test it. And then you could modify it a little bit more if you want to. But simple, easy, effective. Let's just see if it's as easy to get AMD drivers installed, because that'd be the big thing. And do we have a browser? Do we have Edge? We have no browser right now. So what I remember seeing this, you need to go to downloads, and you can download basic stuff from here.
So they have Google Chrome, or we can do Brave.
Ungoogled Chromium.
Huh.
What is that? I want to see what that's like.
Feels like a Linux thing.
So we're downloading it from their server.
There's a normal one too.
And then a normal Google Chrome, which I am downloading this currently. Let's just cancel that. Nope, no cancel, it just go. That's fine, I'll let it down.
We'll see what Unchromium is.
See what Unchromium is. Probably just gonna remove some of the Google sign-in features, which honestly I think we might need to activate some of the accounts we're gonna be activating, but we'll see where that goes. You got Steam set up and everything. This does feel like a Linux first download utility. I think it's a little weird that they just removed Edge, but at least give us some sort of browser. I don't think there's Internet Explorer or anything. Let's see. Yeah, no, there's literally...
This is very Linux-like, where it actually, because that most nicer Linuxes will give you this, where it's like easy downloads and stuff.
Okay, so we'll get Unchromium downloaded. It's pretty slow right now, I will be honest with you. That could very well be this Ethernet that we've been dealing with, so you never know. Our dome has been Unchromiumed. But yeah, this is, I literally think, let's see, can we go to Google? Going to Google with Unchromium is kind of funny, but there you go. So we need AMD drivers is what we're looking for. So in the guide that I know Sapphire gives you, they do even recommend going the extra route of, wow, this is I guess that's the auto tool. We'll see if the auto tool works. But what they do recommend is even debloating your driver, which is a whole nother layer of things you can do. But for this video, to keep it consistent, we're gonna keep the same driver, because you can do the same thing on normal Windows 11 if you wanted to, but that's a whole nother area to go down. So we're just gonna see if GPU drivers install properly. And as long as they do, that's what we're just hoping for, is that this is easy, right? We don't want this to be like Linux. We don't want it to be complicated. We want it to be where we have to do all these extra steps just to make stuff work.
No weird anti-cheats. I want to be able to just launch every game and see better FPS or the same.
All right, we're letting it go. One thing I am gonna check, I'm wondering if we need a LAN driver or something. So we are, we're not downloading our full gig, but we are downloading, so it is working there. So we'll see if this driver installs, and then I will cut to installing our Let's Play games for us to play and get Afterburner working, hopefully. And if everything works, boom. Holiday Ops.
What is that?
World of Tanks.
What is his name? Cumberbatch?
Cumberbatch?
What's that dude's name? Benedict Cumberbatch?
Put his name right here.
Benedict Cum. So we are back in Battlefield on old Sapphire OS, and I will say, the fact that we're playing this, we couldn't be doing this on Linux.
Yeah,
so that's nice.
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest selling point here. And also, before we start, just so you guys know what we were working with before, on the same map, but the last time we benchmarked it off camera, we ended up with an average of 127 FPS, the 1% low of 82. So let's see how things hold up. Yeah, so we're gonna see if we get the same or any different FPS, same map, same setup. We're just gonna let Jackson play around here and see what's happening. But we got everything set up pretty easily.
I'm just playing around. Yeah, and I know so far, besides 3D Mark and kind of Counter-Strike, we haven't seen a major difference.
No.
The guy that we were watching, had some major differences, but that was also, I think one of the biggest differences was Windows 10.
That was Windows 10 for comparison. He threw Windows 11 sometimes in there, but it wasn't really that prominent in the benchmarks. And also, we are doing this all stock. So there are some other settings that even the Sapphire OS people recommend you do, but it does get into the realm of extra technical, in my opinion. And it's one of those where the average gamer probably wouldn't go down that route, but it is an option as well to get more performance. We're kind of just targeting the out-of-the-box experience.
Yeah, and the interesting too is the idea of most people will install Linux on cheaper builds. So could this be an alternative for people with cheaper builds? Because if you only have 8 gigs of RAM, Windows can go crazy with that. So the fact that this was using so much less RAM in Windows was really promising. But for a build that has 32 gigs like this, that may be why we may not see a massive difference. Dang it.
He can kill it crazy. I was playing against a ton of bots when I was playing. You're getting all the good gamers.
You're getting the real guys.
So this is looking a little lower, but it's within the close range. We got an average of 127, the 1% low of 82. So slightly lower. I would say it's not as big of a jump with this being a very uncontrolled test. I would say that's with a margin of error, especially just depending on map variables. But so far, it's not an overwhelming difference is what we're looking for.
What am I doing?
I don't know what this guy's doing. I think you're in that. There you go.
Change here.
Now deploy.
Deploy.
This is what he needed. He needed his sniper rifle.
This is about to go crazy, McAllister. Oh, my legs. You can imagine.
Ooh!
Mm-hmm. He just had to stand still for me. He just had to stand still for me. McAllister, this is my last life, and it's gonna be insane. Oh. Oh, well.
120 average, 79% low.
Yeah, so within margin, but slightly less in this one, but we'll just basically say it's the same. So maybe not every game benefits from having a lighter weight OS.
See what Fortnite can do before we switch to Windows XLite. All right, guys, we are now in Fortnite on Sapphire OS. For comparison purposes, in Windows 11, on the standard Windows 11, we got an average of 386 with a 1% low of 164, and you can see some of the gameplay on screen here, so you guys can will determine at home whether or not it's worth it there. We're gonna drive to the same location, Lethal Labs, running performance mode with far view distance and low on everything else at 1080p. And once I land, I will start the FPS counter. That's how we're gonna keep it consistent. So Fortnite's one of those games that is a high FPS game, and we're getting a ton of FPS. So will we see a major difference? I don't really know. We'll see. We'll say on its own, performance mode is very, very helpful, even on higher end hardware. So we'll see what our averages end up being once we land. And we're going to run around and hopefully not die. I was able to last a pretty long time before.
Thanks to Blue Chew.
Thanks to Blue Chew, today's sponsor. Just kidding, guys. Or are we? I don't know. But we'll see what kind of FPS we end up with. Is anyone here? Anyone I can fight? A little bit of freebies. We're getting higher FPS, guys.
Yeah,
like, this is, yeah, just for, I don't want to die here. Actually, no, I'm gonna keep it running because I feel like I'll mess with the settings, well, with the FPS average if I pause, but we're getting higher averages in this one. You know, I was just talking to Jackson off camera while we were loading in. This feels like an OS and the game that goes with it. Like, people who play this game like really competitively would be the ones to say, Mom, I must install Sapphire OS. It's going to give me way more frames and I can actually go pro in Fortnite.
Mom, you better listen to the little Timmy.
You should listen to them because they may not be wrong, at least currently in this one test, this one scenario. I'm gonna try to stay around this area, basically in the other benchmark, which McAllister will show you in and out a little bit. I kind of just ran around looting. I killed, I think, one person. So far everything is remaining pretty consistent. And I'm definitely raising that FPS by being down here for sure.
So you could kind of argue too with this OS, it's kind of like, since it gets rid of a lot of the AI and kind of spying stuff, it is closer to Linux.
It is.
Maybe even than Windows.
Yeah, at this point in 2026, it is definitely closer to Linux than it's ever been. So pretty cool to see. I will say another OS that you can try if you don't want to go down the rabbit hole of this, which I don't blame people for not wanting to do it because it is a little risky. You're just downloading an ISO from some Discord server and just trusting it. And if you go to the Windows Update section, I'll show you in a second. I don't know how Windows updates work if you're just stuck on this version and then you have to migrate to a new one, because when you go to the update section, it says updates pause until 2050, and there's no way to disable it. So I'm assuming you're just on this version of Windows, which in theory could encounter some issues in the future if you have some Windows compatibility stuff with older versions of Windows. So that is something to keep in mind. But you can also try the LTSC versions of Windows 11, which are cut down, gets rid of all the AI stuff. I bet in that regard it'll even be better. But for the sake of testing, I'm just gonna stop it right here. 442 average with a 1% low of 186. That's an improvement. That is an FPS improvement that is noticeable on the same hardware. Now, what we're gonna do before we jump into Windows XLite is show you guys the side-by-side benchmarks of the original Windows 11 install versus Sapphire OS to combine all the results into one package and see if this OS is a big upgrade over Windows 11. All right, guys, let's get a little more technical. Sapphire OS versus standard Windows 11. Let's run some side-by-side benchmarks and see which one is better. First up in CS2, 1080p low settings. On the Windows 11 install, we got an average of 650.3 FPS, the 1% low of 185. While with Sapphire OS, we got an average of 623 FPS, the 1% low of 210. We actually got a lower average in Sapphire OS than Windows 11, but the 1% lows are much higher, which normally points to much smoother gameplay. Very interesting results so far. far. Next up, Marvel Rivals 1080p medium settings on normal Windows 11 got an average of 91 FPS with a 1% low of 77, while Sapphire OS got an average of 90 FPS with a 1% low of 76. This one, up to margin of error. I really don't think there's a difference between each OS, and really it shows a game that has some built-in ray tracing and is a bit more demanding as an esports title. Doesn't seem like Windows is holding us back all that much with this hardware. Next up, Rainbow Six X 1080p low settings. With standard Windows 11, we got a 548 FPS average, a minimum of 462, and a max of 643. While on Sapphire OS, we end up with an average of 564 FPS with a minimum of 472 and a max of 661. Here's another game where we're actually getting more FPS in Sapphire OS versus Windows 11, albeit it is a small margin. It is a difference between both of them, and it seems like Rainbow Six X, if you're trying to get the most possible FPS, getting a modified version of Windows seems to be a good option for you. And lastly, we ran 30 Mart Time Spy, and with standard Windows 11, we got a score of 14,833, while with Sapphire OS, we ended up getting a score of 14,936, and at least 100-point improvement, which in real world is maybe a couple frames or two, but as we've seen throughout our testing, it really depends on the game. When we played Fortnite, we were blown away with the FPS improvements. CS seemed to be a little bit less on the averages, but the 1% lows were a much better improvement, and it does seem like this lightweight OS does make a difference. But what does Windows XLite look like compared to these other installs? Let's go ahead and try to get it installed on our test bench.
Windows XLite.
He has Windows XLite, ladies and gentlemen, and while he's plugging up the USB, I'm going to pull up our handy dandy notes here to show you guys, or more or less tell you guys, about Windows XLite, which I will say, the website for this one, which you do have to go to a website to download it, is one of the sketchiest ones I have seen. It is quite a sketchy website. I believe I've shown Jackson the website before. Let me show him if I haven't already. There it is. You guys are seeing it, but yeah, it looks very...
Dude, they have ads all over it.
They got ads all over. They got to make their money somehow. But,
I guess so.
But this one, you download the ISO. Same thing with Rufus. I made a bootable USB. This time the right way, which I believe it should work better than the first error I had. But look at this, baby.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy.
Seeing a YouTube page on your Windows installation is crazy.
It is absolutely crazy. Now, I can't believe we've gotten this far in the video. Somebody brought it up. I have no idea what the legalities are of these. Like if Microsoft's definitely not cool, but like I'm wondering, you know, if this is kind of like something that's kept on the DL and we're just outing it right now.
See this?
Yes. Yeah. Do you want a Defender on or off? Preferably on.
I mean, we're probably gonna uninstall it after we'll go on.
Yeah, we'll do on.
I say off, in theory, you'd get a little more performance maybe.
Yeah, a little more, but I would recommend for a person daily driving this, install Defender.
Yeah, unless, I mean, some of you guys probably have some freak mode like antivirus that you're gonna use, then sure.
So yeah, there goes Sapphire OS, and here goes XLite. Let's see if it was as fast as Sapphire OS was when I got it working, because I couldn't even turn the camera on quick enough to show you guys how fast it was installing.
I just love how both of these have like, it looks like a normal Windows install, but then there's just like random watermarks and stuff.
Absolutely crazy. Or this one's
Or we get an error.
Or we get an error again. So we'll see what happens here. But getting files ready for installation. Let's see if it'll work. Installing features. Mikasa, you could speed this all up if nothing bad happens, but I'm gonna keep the camera rolling. Hope we're installing updates now.
It's a little bit quicker than a normal Windows install.
A little bit quicker, not as quick as Sapphire OS was. Sapphire OS was crazy. It just went boom, boom, boom. It was like 5 seconds. So I don't really know what's going on with that. But this one now, we should reboot into Windows XLite. Let's see if it works. Oh, wait. Hold up, what is happening in the background here?
I think our mouse is like, you know, I got a more gripe on Razer.
Yeah.
I realized the other day, not only because this mouse is what we used on the all-in-one.
Yeah.
And the laptop that I did the review on, it makes a whole Razer folder in your program files. That's what all this comes from.
You know,
so
it's not testing mouse.
It's not just coming straight from the mouse.
That's insane.
I can't do anything right now. I don't know what is.
I'm assuming Windows is at least up in the background right now and something is happening. So Razer just said I'm taking over.
I would say compared to Sapphire, so far this one's a little bit...
And a little bit sketchier, a little bit slower. At least just the out of the box experience. Oh, here it is. And we're in. All right, so what do we have on the desktop?
Literally just extras plus info.
And we're restarting. Let's go. So it's as bare as I've ever seen a Windows install, I can tell you that.
Look, I've never seen it do seconds like that. Desktop shortcuts, why do they look like this? Oh, PowerShell. Printing, fix Xbox sign-in. So I guess they know that there's something wrong with Xbox sign-in.
I think one of the things they disable is the auto Xbox integration.
There is like 4 different apps that it does get rid of. We have custom wallpapers.
Hey, let's go.
Okay. Our channel. So they're really proud of like what they've made here. They talk about
Microsoft Store installer, so I guess you don't get the Microsoft Store by default.
Chrome Dome.
At least appreciate them giving you a browser and not forcing you to go download it on another PC.
That would be insane. Or like Linux, where you have to go and type in console commands. Like, I'd be like, that's the whole reason I didn't do Linux. Okay, so I mean, so far, and now let's do the one thing. Let's see. Oh, dude, this looks all kinds of weird.
Oh, it's totally.
It does have transparency though.
Yeah. Okay.
I noticed that. All right, let's see. I'm assuming we're still window.
Oh, now we're not active.
What?
Interesting.
So that either is just it could be unlucky.
It could be unlucky where whatever reason it's not detecting it on our hardware anymore. Let's troubleshoot and see what happens. Oh, this said that?
Oh.
Okay. All right. I just needed to troubleshoot.
Just wasn't connected to the internet.
Okay, we're still good there. You got Chrome. I guess we'll just do the same we did before. Just see if we can get GPU drivers going.
Sure. All right. We got our AMD drivers.
We can check Task Manager, see what the usage is looking like.
I'll check that just while we have the one Chrome tab open. 0% on the CPU. 3.3.
RAM's a little higher.
Which could be not close out of Chrome. That is crazy.
Chrome did use a little bit.
Chrome does get rid of what is it? Almost
half a gig.
3/4 of a gig.
Oh, look, it's going down to 2.2 now.
So not two. The other one, weren't we sitting at what 1 point something?
It was like right at 2 or a little bit below 2.
This is really impressive.
This is still really
being
good.
At that. Also, you know what's also funny? I guess these are modern update or installs, but just not loading into Windows with instant updates going.
Yeah.
That's normally why Windows looks so bad when you first get it going, is it instantly starts doing updates.
Yeah, and it's like bogging on your system.
Oh, speaking of that.
No, look at the pause date.
Oh, did it say 300?
Yes.
Or 3,000?
It said the year 3000. So I don't know.
Oh.
Okay, so it lets you do updates, but what will that do? I don't know.
Oh, look, a cumulative update.
Okay.
For framework. And then, did you see this too? There was a spot where it said updates. So I wonder if I click this. Are they on now?
I don't know.
It just like did not. I don't know. All right, let's go and get the AMD drivers.
Yeah, I would make sure we don't. Yeah, hopefully those don't break anything when we restart.
Hopefully. I'm assuming those won't add anything extra. I don't see them adding like AI and nothing. So, but then we'll have to show you guys all this stuff again. Anyway, let's see what the RAM's at now. It's probably going crazy.
Oh, we got a Windows update. You're gonna have to find out now.
Why did I do this? Well, they're all
going. Let's just see if we broke. I mean, this is a good experiment. If you install Windows updates, will it break it?
All right, so I see Chrome. Oh, I don't even need to do this. I already have it downloaded. File Explorer. Downloads. Adrenaline.
So we can get it going before it tries to do more updates.
I wonder if I can just hear it. Let me do that thing again, but I'll turn it off this time. Off.
Oh yeah, Windows Update Service is stopping.
It's that easy.
Oh, there you go.
I wish you could do that in Windows. That is kind of a cool
That
tool.
is nice, because they force you at some point to update. So if you wanted to pause it, it's pretty cool.
But obviously, for certain people though, it could be important to be able to get, because like the whole reason you're not doing Linux is so you can play those modern games that you don't want conflicts. You will need to update Windows at times.
Yes.
There's some games that literally just will not work well if they're on really old versions, so.
All right, so it looks like, drivers look like they're downloading. I have no reason to believe it's not going to install properly. So if we have any issues, we'll cut back in. But what we're going to do is get the drivers installed, get the games downloaded, and then we'll start benchmarking to see how does XLite compare.
All right, we are back in Battlefield now. We're on XLite, Xreal, Xlax. I'm going to show you guys that the settings are the same because we always like to prove to you guys and ourselves, honestly. So high setting preset, which does set you to custom. We got this all to high, and we'll show you this too. We don't have any upscaling or anything crazy. Max FOV, and I'm dead. Then we have vertical sync off.
Beautiful.
And now I'm gonna respawn, then I'll page up so we can get those averages. We're on the same map too.
For comparison purposes, once again, on Sapphire OS, we got an average of 120 with a 1% low of 75. And the original Windows 11 install got an average of 127 with a 1% low of 82.
Okay, so far,
we're looking kind of in the middle.
Kind of, yeah. Say the low. Okay, it's going down 83. We're probably gonna hit 82. All right.
Yeah. All right.
So we're pretty close.
I'm wondering in these like really graphically intensive games if like your hardware is in this situation we're really GPU bound. We're at basically 100% the entire time. I don't really know how much the software is really going to help us that much.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like in theory, you're getting rid of maybe some of like the stuff that's in the background. Even when you can't see it, it still can be taxing on like your GPU and stuff. Those visual effects that Windows has built in. But I don't know. I feel like it still goes back to the whole you know, the Windows video made them look really, really good.
Yes.
Ours is kind of almost more like, maybe if we had lower end hardware, we'd be like, wow, this is crazy. But as of now, it's kind of like, maybe worth it to some people.
Maybe worth it. It's still one of those things where I don't necessarily know how you should be using them, because I mean they're still a little suspect. Regardless of how supported they are, they're still a little sus. You're basically putting a lot of trust into these people to not make something that's going to spy on you also, you know, or use some sort of background like virus. Like you don't necessarily know, but I mean,
You just assume they're on your side, you know.
but then I guess you could say the point of, I assume Microsoft's on my side, but they're spying on me too. So, you know, which would take whichever one you want. But yeah, I don't know. This is it's looking close. The averages are a little bit higher than we were getting on SapphireOS, just by a little bit, but within that 5 to 6 FPS range that I wouldn't say it's like groundbreaking.
It's hard to give anything definitive to, because it could literally be like, you know, I did accidentally do those updates.
Yep.
Maybe a newer version of Windows has a little bit better drivers or less stuff going on in the background of Windows. It's like, who knows? Ooh, this could go crazy.
Oh, whoa!
Get mowed down.
Yo.
Plebs.
Oh,
no! You're kidding me. How many tanks are in this dang game? But yeah, you know, I wonder if and maybe he can reach out to us. We'll reach out to him. But FrameSync Labs, where we kind of partially got the idea from. Oh, that's a tank right there. Hey, it seems like, I mean, he was getting some really crazy results. So I am wondering if maybe he might have done some of that optimization that they give us the option to do. But it is kind of cool to see that they work. It's also cool to see that maybe Windows isn't as over-cumbersome as we think it is.
So yeah, 126 average, 1% low. We'll do 84. That's where we stopped at.
Right.
And let's see if Fortnite was the one outlier that was like crazy last time. Let's see if that is the case as well with XLite. All right, guys, before we drop in, we are in Fortnite once again on Windows XLite. We are currently running performance settings, same far view distance and low textures. We need to go to Lethal Labs. And once we drop in, I will hit the page up. Now, last time we had an outlier kind of with SapphireOS, where we got an average of 442 with a 1% low of 186, which was a substantial improvement over Windows 11, which I think was in like the 380 range. So we had a big FPS improvement in terms of the averages. Will it be the same with Windows XLite? Let's see.
Let's find out.
Let's find out. In regards to gaming performance, I will say just genuinely using the operating systems to set everything up and download stuff, it's very snappy. All the stuff they've done does make an improvement. It's just a matter of, would you be better off installing Windows 11 and maybe using, like, I know there's the Chris Titus tech tool that's out there that you can download that kind of does very similar stuff. And it's just kind of disable stuff in the background on a normal Windows install, and it's not a custom ISO. That might be another rabbit hole to go down after this video, and maybe a better option for some of you gamers. But, you know, it's still very interesting that this market exists. Right now, the averages are definitely lower. We're more looking at the, I would say, Windows 11 standard range in terms of the averages we're getting. We're not getting the crazy high numbers. Again, this is not a perfectly scientific test because Fortnite does change its environment a little bit. I don't think we're in this, like, whatever orange sunset hazy mode. See, now we're not. It's a little better now, but all the environments do change, so it's not going to be perfect. But I will say this does feel lower. I mean, we're at times getting to 260 to 290 FPS. So this is interesting. This does feel lower.
Average was what, like 442?
Yeah, this is freaking Fortnite, man. Fortnite is just so random. Hey. Goodbye.
It does have to make you wonder then if the numbers don't really go up, is Sapphire really that much better?
Yeah,
or
it's just Fortnite being random. Fortnite's inconsistency. I mean, I'm looking at times where we're back to 330. At one point, we were below 300. We never hit that at that point when we were benchmarking. And I will say, though, I was running around with less people here, so I don't really know how that impacts the FPS. I was kind of just running around in circles after killing one person. So, again, is what it is. But this is looking... Hello? It's looking like the worst of the bunch so far.
Worse than Windows?
Worse than Windows? What?
I just know, like, because they have like an active YouTube, they're gonna comment and be like, "You guys did everything wrong.
You did it all wrong," and you can let us know if there's anything we do differently. I will say with XLite, unless the tutorials tell you to do something different, that one didn't come with any like tweak settings or anything. It was just literally, here's your OS and here's stuff you can bring back if you need to. So, you know. I don't know, guys.
Oh, look, now we're getting...
Yeah, look, now it's chilling.
400. Oh,
It depends on the area. If I look over here... Oh! That's a freaking pig!
Oh, my goodness.
Almost ruined the benchmark run, buddy! And yeah, I'll end it here in just a minute. I will say, yeah, this is definitely a decrease. Could just be luck of the draw with the environment going on in Fortnite, or Fortnite is just how it always is whenever we benchmark it, incredibly inconsistent across PC hardware. Some games it's good, some games it isn't, but we'll go ahead and end right here with a 346 average and a 1% low of 141, which I think is actually like, what is that, 40 FPS worse than the standard Windows 11? Let's see. 386, yeah, so about 40 FPS worse here. It's like the opposite sides of the spectrum here, which is absolutely crazy to see. But we've done our testing, we did the built-in benchmarks, we did the same thing we did for Sapphire OS, show you guys some side-by-side testing, and then we'll come to a conclusion about both of these OSs. Is it worth installing? It kind of seems to be a mixed bag so far. All right, guys, so now that we finished testing Windows XLite, let's see how it compares to the Windows 11 standard install so you guys at home can decide, well, is Windows XLite worth it? Well, let's do the side-by-side benchmarks and find out. Again, the same test we ran when we compared Sapphire OS to standard Windows 11. As a reminder, with standard Windows 11 on CS2 1080p low settings, we got an average of 650.3 FPS with a 1% low of 185.2, while with Windows XLite, we know with an average of 623.4 FPS with a 1% low of 208. Once again, Windows 11 standard won the CS battle here, but we are still getting higher 1% lows, which again is signed to having more stability with your frame rate and less stutters and frame drops. So overall, I think while you're actually gaming, you probably would feel a much smoother experience on Windows XLite, just like you would on Sapphire OS when playing CS2, but your averages are going to be a bit lower. Next up, Marvel Rivals 1080p medium settings on the standard Windows 11 install. We got a 91 FPS average with 1% low of 77, while with Windows XLite, we end up getting pretty much the same thing, a 91 FPS average with a 1% low of 76. No major difference here. It's basically the same between these two operating systems, and so far, nothing too crazy going on. Next up, Rainbow Six X 1080p low settings on standard Windows 11. We end up getting an average of 548 FPS, a minimum of 462, and a max of 643. While in Windows XLite, we got an average of 551 FPS with a minimum of 464 and a max of 649. So up across the board in the average, minimum, max, the Windows XLite install did perform just very marginally better than the normal Windows 11 install. Nothing super crazy here to report home about, so I really would chalk that up to margin of error if I'm being perfectly honest, and call it a draw between the two. And lastly, 3D Mark Time Spy with standard Windows 11, we got a score of 14,833 versus a score of 14,914. So there is a difference in 3D Mark Time Spy. Once again, it's the amount of maybe a couple frames across a bunch of different games, and as you saw in the testing we did, it didn't seem to matter all that much. There were some times where the FPS was less, sometimes more, sometimes about the same. So very interesting testing we did in today's video. This is an area of the internet we never knew existed, and there are way more other ones that are probably even more sketchier than the ones we tested in today's video that will cause maybe problems you shouldn't get into to just optimize for FPS improvements. So let's bring Jackson back in here and collect all our thoughts and wrap this video up.
So that was definitely a good battle of the Windows installs. So Sapphire OS and of course XLite and our good old just Windows 11. I was surprised to see not major differences like I thought there might be, especially because of seeing some of these YouTube videos out there where they show some really crazy numbers in certain games. We saw some differences, and honestly the Windows installs are way cleaner. I love not seeing Copilot and Outlook and all these other random things installed, but those are things that you could remove on your own.
And really, I think our recommendation comes down to just installing standard Windows 11, and maybe if you want to go the extra mile, download an extra tool or utility that do exist that are safe out there that allows you to remove some extra bloatware from Windows that frees up some system resources, because it does seem to happen nowadays when we do a normal Windows 11 install, just on the main Windows screen, we're using about 5 to 6 gigs of RAM just idling, which makes really budget systems really hard to even function, which we think a follow-up video would be taking Sapphire OS, which from our benchmarks was the best version of this, and install it on a really old PC and see if there is a difference between that. So stay subscribed if you want to see that video, and also dive down the rabbit hole of utilities you can download on Windows 11 to clean things up. So there's a lot of content we can make about this, and we want to hear from you guys. Do you have any experience with any of these or other ISOs that we didn't mention in today's video that makes sense for improving FPS in games, or are you sticking with regular Windows 11 for your gaming PC? I want to hear from you guys down below.
But anyways, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you check out our other 2 YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/ToastyBros. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Now at PCBros.tech, when we install Windows, we go all out. We try to get rid of as much bloatware as we possibly can. We do not give you McAfee or any of those BS programs.
PC Bros, it's just like you built it yourself and you install Windows. That's what we try to do at PC Bros. No extra bloatware to slow down your gaming PC, just maximum performance. Use code ToxiBros on checkout to save 3% of your next purchase. See you guys later. Bye-bye.